You're such an asshole.
Asshole Consulting, how you kids doing? From our buddy Arcady, who always drops the real easy ones, the softball pieces. Hi Aaron, I hope you're doing well. A new video request for you. Please name the price. As author of Enjoy the Decline, you will surely agree that what we've been witnessing is a steady deterioration of most areas of life, from our culture, nightlife. I disagree about the nightlife. I think the nightclubs are dying. There's bits and pieces of good news coming from the millennials and Zers. Dating life, family life, etc. The numbers such as GDP, unemployment, and rapid technological innovation suggest prosperity, but of course they don't tell the whole story. Yeah, GDP growth is not that good. Everyone thinks this is a booming economy. It is not a booming economy. This is a good economy, but I'd love to back out all of our government spending and see what GDP would look like then. And unemployment is, yes, it's at a historic low since 1969, but the labor force participation rate, which I'd argue is much more important, is down, which is bad. And jobs are not all that high paying either. It is undeniable that life in the U.S. is becoming more stressful and less inspiring each year. I don't know about more stressful, but I would agree less inspiring. When I was in my 20s, I thought I would be jealous of younger generations, but now 15 years later, I feel truly lucky to have had the opportunity to experience a far more interesting life back then on so many levels. And a better San Francisco, of course, than what today's youth gets to experience, who must not even know what they're missing. And is there going to be math keeps going this way. There will be a generation of Portlandiers, Seattleites, and San Franciscans that don't know any time before the country history where people weren't shitting in the streets. They're going to think that's normal. I mean, heck, I think Gen X might be the last generation where obesity wasn't the norm, where we actually went out and played. We'd have pickup games of baseball and football with the neighborhood kids. My question to you is this: what, if anything, can fundamentally turn things around and put us on track towards building or rebuilding what we used to have? I realize this is a very general question, but feel free to address whatever specific parts of life you want. I apologize, it's going to be a short answer. I don't think anything can be done. I believe that the human race in nearly every capacity, even something as simple as sleep, we oscillate. You sleep, you recharge your batteries, you go back. You sleep, you recharge your batteries, you go back. The sun comes up. You got circadian rhythm. We have seasons. I think everything is a cycle. I also think that if we don't have cycles, we die. But that requires me to think about that theory or philosophy a little bit more. But the same thing happens within societies in general. It is going to be a natural consequence of capitalism where you have so much wealth that you spoil so many people, from rich to poor. I mean, everyone, poor. No, you're not. You got fucking television. You got a car. You got cheap food. The fuck you're poor. You're not poor. We don't have poor. We have people who are mentally ill who live in tent cities. Okay, fine. I'll grant you that. But when the fucking government is sending you a check so you can eat, clothe yourself, and shelter, and then you get free education, you ain't po. Nobody po. I mean, not now. Relatively speaking, yes, you're in the lower quintile, so you're quote poor. But we have an incredible amount of wealth, and that results, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, and that's what we're at now. We are in the era of not only good times creating weak men, but we're now on our third generation. You have the boomers, you have the we're fourth. We have the millennials, certainly soft, and the Zers. I'm seeing no indication that they're going to, because we just print off money. We'll just borrow money, we'll go into debt. Beforehand, we had economic growth in the boomer days, part of Gen X. Now it's just debt. And we could get away with it with the world reserve currency. Not going to go into that now. But we could keep this up for quite some time. Usually it was the generation would fuck it up and lose all the wealth. Doesn't happen. We just paper that over with more government money. Come on, Arcadia, I've mentioned this a million times before. How much education, propaganda, brainwashing, indoctrination, advertising, lobbying, whatever you call influencing in general, goes into propagandizing young people into worshiping and falling in love with the state. I mean, how many of them come out with Christianity is stupid, but this socialism thing is great? How many of these young kids come out? And that's another reason we're not, what can we do? Well, if you want to do something, we'd have to take over media. You'd have to take over the schools. You'd have to take over government. The voting isn't there. The number of votes just isn't there. I mean, we could launch a war, but you're going to have to kill a lot of people. Frankly, I don't feel like doing that. I'm not going to go kill a bunch of people. Just so little Tilly can maybe get educated about, classical economics or something like that. But if you look at the amount of propagandizing, let's just call it, that goes into brainwashing little youth so that when they graduate from high school, they go and get more brainwashing, and then they're all crippled in debt, and they're zombies. They're not functional. There are so many people, so much has been invested in plugging these people into the matrix. And here you are, one of the Nebuchadnezzar. What should we do? Unplug them one at a time. No, and if I recall correctly, don't the bad guys win in the Matrix trilogy? You could save, now you can't even save loved ones, a family. I've tried giving Worthless to a bunch of kids. They don't listen to it. I have not spent the years as teachers have constantly programming like Wormwood whispering into the guy at the Lord of the Rings show. Propaganda and lies. We have not convinced young women, oh, hey, you can have it all, but there's this thing called menopause, and you shouldn't go into student loan debt for worthless degree. They're just signing up another bit of data that no matter what you do, they're not going to listen because you're outgunned and outspent on the propaganda war. When I looked at the percentage of kids for the new book, How Not to Become a Millennial, percent of people that are majoring in stupid shit, it's the same. It's 85% now. No one's dropping out. Some of the higher end liberal arts colleges are going bankrupt. But people are still going to college. And if you want to see a barometer as to if we're going to ever turn it around, well, look at how much debt Gen Z takes on. Look at how much debt they take on for student loans. And if all of a sudden the student loan market goes higher than 1.5 trillion, we have our answer. The future, the younger generations, Gen Z, is just as dumb as the millennials, probably dumber because they're going to take on even more debt for even more worthless degrees. And they're going to graduate with that same, they're incompetent. They won't be able to support themselves. And all they'll know is government money. According to my professor, I'm entitled to everything. The concept of production, of how does groceries get to the grocery store shelves, that's going to be completely lost on them. And we could talk about demographics and immigrants coming into this country who come from shitty second and third world shitholes, who want to escape, they want to come here, but then they vote the exact same way they did in the second world, third world shitty shitholes. So that's not going to turn around. This is not, hey, young entrepreneur from the immigrant community comes here and I love America and let's make America great and let's lower taxes and gosh, I can't wait to get out of that communist or dictatorial shithole. Oh, I want the free, give me that. That's it. Nothing will be done. That's why I wrote a book called Enjoy the Decline, because I think the decline is inevitable. And you know what? If anything, there's some people that they're called accelerators. They want to accelerate the process. Like, yeah, let's give them socialism. Let's get President Ocasio-Cortez in here. There's an argument for that. I mean, how long is it going to take Venezuela to kick Maduro out? That's only been going on for 20 years. Hopefully you don't have something like the Soviet Union where it lasts for 70. But that too will come to an end. But it's not until there's bread lines and empty stores at the shelves and oh gosh, they shut off the gas. They took our cousin Frank away and now we don't know where Frank is because he said some things that were not popular. And now we found out he's had a thing called a gulag. Not until that whole system comes crashing down, nothing's going to stop it. Because the government and the Democrats and whoever you want to call, and let's just not forget, it's also human nature. Humans want to be lazy. We can point fingers at socialists and leftists and Democrats and other professional parasites, but they're merely the drug dealers. They're saying, hey, do you want some free other people's shit? It doesn't cost you anything. Not, and these dopey American people are like, yeah, free shit, I'm entitled to it too. And they don't realize what it does to them. They have no idea what the long-term consequences of it are. And they'll just keep mopping it up and sopping it up. About the only way I could think that there'd be a chance is if the Republicans were to grow a pair of balls and start targeting minority males and saying, hey, you know who took your women? The fucking government. Do you want them back? Do you want, all of the proud, don't need no man, finger snapping, sassy fat broad getting in your face telling you what a loser? Huh, I wonder where she got that. Would you like your dick wet by a chick that doesn't weigh 300 pounds? Well, maybe you ought to start thinking about voting Republican. Let me explain it to you. Here's how it works, son. This is what we got to do. But, and you'd have to be very direct and blunt, which I don't think is a surprise that so many red pill people in the community happen to be minority males. Because they're at the front lines of this indoctrination and programming. Then maybe you could get them to say, fuck this shit, we're going Republican, we're going old school Civil War Republican. We're going to, quote unquote, free the slaves, but we're going to free our women this time. Aside from that, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It isn't. It just isn't. Because a critical percent of the population has just been programmed and indoctrinated, not to be parasitic, but to succumb to their parasitic leanings. Because laziness is the strongest force in all human mind, the human mind, in all the human mind. and instead of, so much other stuff would happen. Men would stop having to be cucks, the conservative Republican fathers. They'd actually have to be a badass and say, no, princess, there's no suburbanite, no daddy's little princess anymore. No, you're not majoring in women's studies at St. Catherine's University. You're going to go to the local community college and you're going to major in programming. And if you don't, well, then you better go pay for your own education. But that's not going to happen. I mean, this is why it's so defeating when I see people on my team just fucking cuck out, send their kids to school for a history degree, send their kids to, it's like, wow, I know this sounds obscure, but it speaks directly to it. I thought silver dollar bikini was going to sell a lot more. Why? Because I thought, these men are conservative, traditional, libertarian men, and the women like that, and oh no, the biggest bunch of henpicked guys where the wife wears the pants. I was like, okay. And that makes it even more insular. That makes it, you know what you do when you enjoy the decline? You make damn sure you don't have no kids. You go fucking find yourself a nice little place where you be left the fuck alone and you enjoy your life. You ride your motorcycles, you hike your trails, you go travel, you eat the good food, you do what you want. I'm not saying you go shoot up heroin, but there's an element of hedonism to it. Because unless society starts paying you to participate in society, fuck that shit. Here you go. Here you fucking go. And by the way, if you fuck it up too much while I'm still alive and you can't keep the lights on, I'm going to be going to country X, where at least it's a stable cultural place, and fine, I'm a gaijin or a gaijin or however they pronounce it, but at least the toilets run. And you have fun with everyone getting degrees in diversity and inclusion and nobody producing shit because they're all a bunch of fucking Soviet apparatchiks. So I would, and we've had conversations about your plan B before, and I think your plan B is something that you might want to consider, because at least there's a fucking culture that you're kicking around going to. All right, there you go. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.